The 580 Sports Talk Chiefs instant reaction post-game show is live. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, celebrating a Kansas City Chiefs easy, dominant victory over the Chicago Bears. And let's just be blunt, that was not a win, that was not a victory, that was an ass-kicking of what is now inarguably, by far, the worst team in the National League, the Chicago Bears. Brendan Dzwierzynski, Dan Lucero, Jake Lebahn here with you to recap this one. And, I mean, do you want to talk about the destroying the Bears? We can talk about the defense destroying the Chicago Bears. We can talk about the Bears destroying their own quarterback and letting him go out on the field when he could barely the drive prior. I mean, this was just a masterclass in proving who is dominant, who is awful, and proving why for both. The Chiefs killed them on both sides of the ball. The Bears were absolutely miserable on both sides of the ball. I mean, Dan, this is all you could have asked for. All you could have possibly asked for in this game is to be up by enough that you can pull Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce with half of the third quarter left, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, TCB kind of game for the Chiefs. No question about it. They took care of business. That's what they were in a position to do going into this week, 12.5-point favorites. You don't want to play with your food. And we discussed that perception this week on 580 Sports Talk. The perception that that's kind of what the Chiefs do is tend to play with their food a little bit. Sometimes that has been the case. Last year, there were a couple of games where they were heavy double-digit favorites, and the games were a lot closer than Vegas or Chiefs fans would have expected them to be. This was not one of those cases. This was a game where the Chiefs came out and clearly viewed it as an opportunity to get right, to find some offensive rhythm, to be dominant and continue to play well and establish themselves on the defensive side. And they did exactly that. Now, the Bears reek. I mean, that is as bad a football team and as bad a performance in a half of football as you will ever see. And I hope that they put a tent over the Bears Broncos game next week, like a Barnum and Bailey circus tent, because that's what that's going to be. Those are the two worst teams in creation that play each other next week. It'll be the first ever game broadcast on ESPN minus. But the Chiefs did what you're supposed to do to teams that are that bad. They beat them from pillar to post from the beginning to the end. They established that they were the better team. And I think this will have been a good win for them in the end because you get more confidence defensively. Sure, but we started to see the rhythm in the pass game. This is what the Chiefs offense looks like when it's operating at its best. They're establishing some run and having the run be a threat. Pacheco, McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire all look good in the running game. Offensive line played its best game of the season, but the passing game got into rhythm, and Patrick Mahomes got into rhythm with some of the new guys like Rashee Rice and Sky Moore, and the result, a easy routine win that maybe if you're a Chiefs fan, you turned it off at halftime and went and cleaned the garage.
And most of America had the game turned off for halftime. We were 6 minutes, not even 6 minutes when this happened, not even 6 minutes into the third quarter when Fox moved the national broadcast off of Chiefs Bears. It was only the Kansas City and the Chicago markets that got this game for the majority of the second half. That's how much of a beatdown this was. And Jake, Dan was just mentioning about the offense and being in sync. We've got some of the stats on the ticker right now, but you got young receivers involved. You got Rashee Rice, who I know you were talking about all week. Want to get him involved more. Sky Moore got involved from the very beginning of the game. Kelce obviously got his. Passes. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was running the ball plenty in the game, especially late. You had a big game for Isaiah Pacheco as well. I mean, they were spreading it around. Everyone got to eat in this game. Mahomes put up his usuals. I mean, you couldn't have expected or asked for more from this group offensively.
No, what was great was, I mean, they did this game, with style, and I mean, not my wildest dreams did I think they'd be able to run the football as well as they did. And I'm sorry, there's going to be a lot of bad blood between this Bears team and the Bears fan base right now.
Bad blood, nice. Taylor Swift reference, bad blood, nice.
Yeah, well, and you missed all style and wildest dreams. So I'm just here to tell you how Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are an item. I had people send me a text. Are they really dating? Who cares about the game? It was 41-0. This game's over. Dan, you did a great job with that. You show up to watch the person you're talking to and you sit next to their mother. No, you're together. They're not gonna, they're together right now. How about that? Power couple in the United States, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. I mean, let's be real. That's the thing. How excited was she? She even did a let's effing go after he scored a touchdown. I mean, let's be real. Chest bump and everything. You don't do that if you're just talking to somebody. You just kind of text back and forth. So no, this was more about that the power couple in the United States is now Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I thought the Broncos were embarrassing. They gave up 70. I think the Bears game, I think their performance was worse. Like for real. Like
easily.
all Taylor Swift, songs aside, that was horrible. This has nothing to do with the Chiefs. Like there's nothing you can take away from the Chiefs. If there's anything, you ready? I'm upset that the officials are legitimately targeting Juwan Taylor. I get that move up a little bit. Good friend of the show 580 Sports Talk, Seth Kaiser, had a screen grab of the two tight ends lined up basically right next to each other. One was on the line of scrimmage, one was off. You couldn't tell the difference. They are legitimately targeting this guy. He is operating under a different set of rules than every other offensive right tackle. Like, that is my biggest takeaway on this one, is that I don't know what the Chiefs have to do. Clearly Andy Reid pulled Juwan Taylor to make a statement like, hey, it's to the point where you need to be so far forward that they can't call it on you. But let's be real. The officials they're profiling. This is profiling. I don't know how else you can profile this in the NFL. And then my guy, Prince Tega Winogo, just let him score. Bro, it's 41-0. Quit trying to run after somebody. Just let him score. Like, the fact that Mahomes maybe nicks up his ankle, Tega Winogo might be hurt, same thing with Donovan Smith. Like, that's the only part of this that is really a bad situation. But Chiefs just got to shake off those injuries and we'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not anything you can critique here. I mean, I thought about critiquing why'd you put Mahomes into the second half at all? And it became very Travis Kelce got that touchdown, that the only reason Mahomes was in was to make sure Travis Kelce got his touchdown in front of his new girlfriend. Like, that was very clearly the intent of keeping them in the third quarter at all. But yeah, I mean, if there's anything to critique and it's as nitpicky as it gets, like, look, you're right. Taylor is clearly, and I think Greg Olsen used the phrase marked man on the broadcast, and like, absolutely true. 100% true. If you know that's going to happen, like, dude, take a step forward. Like, I sympathize because it's not fair. Also, like, they're extremely easy fix. Just move 6 inches forward, but lean your head forward a little bit. Like, it sucks, but I feel like the fix is relatively easy. But if that's the only thing you can critique in this game, Dan, I mean, what this isn't the most like hot takey kind of show of all time, because what do you say? That the Chiefs were awesome, the Bears are the worst team in the NFL. I put this on Twitter. They're one of the worst teams I've ever seen. Like, at least the Broncos, at least they're today, they cared. They're bad. Their coach is a doofus, but they tried. Garrett Bowles, I saw a video of him after the game. He was emotional about it. He wanted to. Not good. Bears team, that is 53 dudes and a 12-man coaching staff that is out there cashing a paycheck. There is not 1 ounce of want to on that entire roster, coaching staff, the entire organization. Just embarrassing. And that is what it is. So if the biggest complaint is, I hope Donovan Smith is okay and Juwan Taylor lean forward a little bit, you're doing pretty well for a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and Donovan Smith did get back into the game there at the end. So hopefully that's a good sign for his health moving forward. The Juwan Taylor thing is really disappointing because it's masking how well he's playing other than the penalties, which, I mean, for an offensive lineman, you can't commit penalties. We don't notice you unless you're committing penalties, and then we think you're doing bad. But like, that offensive line was great today. Like, Patrick Mahomes had all day to throw, and
ran it well.
That enabled him to get in again, that rhythm and start to find guys in the passing game, starting to look more like a Chiefs passing game. And then the way they ran the ball effectively, they were bullying the Bears in the trenches. We said going into the game, we said on Friday that might have been the biggest advantage for the Chiefs in this game, both ways, was on the line of scrimmage. And it certainly proved to be that. The offensive line, I thought, was really terrific. And Jawaan Taylor's playing well. Like when they're not throwing him, profiling him, especially the second one that took the touchdown away, that was bogus. I mean, that was totally bogus. Yeah. There's no reason that flag would not have come out if it had not been number 74 for the Chiefs. Chris Collinsworth owes Jawaan Taylor an apology, and maybe he'll give it to him next week when the Chiefs are back on Sunday Night Football. But no, I think that stinks because it masks just how well he's playing, and everybody else up front is playing and played today. Chiefs defensive front, I thought, did a really nice job. I wondered if maybe we'd see more of the running Justin Fields this week, more plays in the scramble game. There were a couple, but for the most part, the Chiefs dictated the game up front defensively. Chris Jones had a sack. George Karlaftis was all over the backfield. Really good game. Mike Dana had a play where he put the center in Fields' lap. Just a really impressive performance by the Chiefs defensively. There's really nothing to complain about. I think you're coming away from this game for the Chiefs. They did what they were supposed to do, and they strong-armed an opponent that, again, they're barely a USFL caliber team at this point.
Yeah, I thought the defensive line was really impressive in this game. Mike Dana is going to earn himself a legitimate second contract in the NFL. Yep. He is playing out of his mind right now. And good for him. He's going to make some team happy next year if he brings this kind of effort going forward. So good for him. And I put this on Twitter too. The luxury the Chiefs have that they can put Chris Jones on the edge on obvious passing downs is unbelievable, because Darnell Wright, rookie for the Bears, who was their first-round pick, who has been the only offensive lineman who's been worth a damn this year, had no chance. It was the first sack of the game. He had no chance blocking Chris Jones with a full head of steam coming off the edge. That creativity that the Chiefs front, the power they have specifically built around Chris Jones, obviously a huge deal for this defense. Jake, let's get a final thought from you on this game. To Chris, we'll break it all down in full coming up on 580 Sports Talk 2 to 6 on Monday. Just a final thought on what was, again, to repeat it one more time, just a complete ass kicking for the
This is more about the Bears, just how bad they are. Chiefs look good. That's what you're supposed to do to a good team. And I'm excited. What kind of love story are we going to see here coming up? That's what's the most interesting is all of this. Look what you guys made me do. I mean, look what the Bears made me do. Seriously. If this thing were a close game, I wouldn't have to resort to T Swift puns right now. But you know what? That's just how it is.
It is what it is. We will, again, break this game down 100%, plus all the other great football. What a weekend for our area football teams. Great game on Friday night for our game of the week. KU wins, K-State wins, and the Chiefs with a dominant win as well. That's all coming up on 580 Sports Talk on Monday from 2 until 6, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, as well as online, 580WIBW.com, and on the 580s YouTube. But until then, for Dan Lucero, for Jake Lebahn, I'm Brendan Dzwierzynski. This has been your Chiefs Instant Reaction postgame show. We'll talk to you guys Monday on the Kansas.